everyone, welcome back. Today I am planning on doing a very neutral, natural kind of makeup look today. Obviously I've got a little bit of a smoky eye, but it's pretty neutral in general. I realized I did my top 10 neutral palettes in a very non-neutral look. I mean, I just had done the Mint Melt collection by e.l.f., which is mint green, and it was brought to my attention that I was talking about neutral palettes with a very bright look. So today we're actually going to use one of the palettes that I mentioned and create this very natural, neutral look. I actually really enjoy this look right now, and I've got plans later today, so I'm feeling pretty confident. Before we get started though, I would love if you would hit that subscribe button. It would mean so much to me, and we'll get started. Alright, so I did go ahead and prime my eyelids. I just used my Nars Tinted Smudge Proof Eyeshadow Base. So now we're going to go into our palette, the Going Coconuts from Colourpop. So to begin, we're going to go into this shade. It's called Lovely Bunch, and I'm just taking that on a fluffy blending brush, and we're going to start with defining the crease. So just going in the crease area and blending up as well. I think there are so many options with this palette. Yes, it's neutral, all around neutral palette. So I mean, you can't get too crazy with it, but there's some very good shades in this palette, and I think you can really do a lot with it, which is why it was one of the first ones from Colourpop that I picked up. This was also one of the palettes that like started my introduction to like a smoky eye and how to do that, and like introducing darker browns into my life, because I was very terrified of dark colors because I didn't know how to use them, and I didn't realize that if you don't want them to be dark, they don't have to be dark. You can start with very light layers and then just get a hint of darkness, which I didn't know that, but this palette definitely taught me that. Next, we're gonna go into the darkest brown. The shade is called Nutty, and we're gonna do exactly that and start using dark browns to deepen up our outer third of the lid. I tend to like to pack on the color of where I want the pigment first, and then from there I will blend it to spread it out a little bit more. So I mean, yes, it looks dark, but I mean, it's not as dark as it could be. I think it's just about your preference and how dark you really do want your smoky eye to be. For me, when I was first starting out, obviously I was terrified of it, so I just like, even this is more than what I used to do because I was so terrified of dark colors. But I'm not trying to go like overboard today. I'm going to visit a friend today, so I can't like too scary. And now we're just gonna repeat the process on this eye. Okay, so now that I've got it to the depth of the darkness that I want, I am now gonna go into the center shade called Cocoa Crush. And you guys know me, I'm just gonna use my fingers. I think that's the best way to get a good payoff for shimmer colors. And we're just gonna put that all over the lid and into the inner corner. And I mean, you guys, look at this color. Isn't it beautiful? I'm not sure if Cocoa Crush is the same formula as their like Super Shock shadows, but man, it feels very nice. Very creamy. And I mean, the payoff is beautiful, and it doesn't really take much. Like, I'm not swiping to get it off my finger, I'm just tapping it. Now I'm gonna go into my flat brush like I normally do, just to make sure I get this shimmer all the way into my inner corners. As you know, nails don't really let you do that too much. And I'm also going to use this brush to kind of perfect the shimmer shape that I want. I really love that shimmer shade. I think it looks so stunning. It's a mixture of pearly and champagne-y, and it's got a little bit of rose in there, and I think it's really pretty. It's a very good neutral shimmer. Okay, so next, I'm realizing now that my shimmer is a little more in my face than my smokiness, so I'm actually gonna go into this shade called Get Crackin', and it actually has some of those like pearly flecks in it too. And I'm gonna use the same brush that I used as Nutty because I'm lazy and don't want to dirty another one, but really it's brown, so how much harm can it do? And I'm just going to use that color to blend the line between shimmer and matte, and then place it everywhere I want to deepen up. And then once I've got it to the opacity I want, I'm just going to blend it a little bit. And because it's got that sparkly fleck in it, I'm not worried if some of the shimmer actually gets over here. So now we're gonna do the same to the other side, starting with blending in our line. And if you have hooded eyes like me, just remember like to raise your eyebrows so you can actually get the color in where your hood is. I don't know if you guys have ever noticed, but like I'll start my, like when I deepen up the outer corner, I'll start looking like straight. And then towards the end of it, I've got my eyes raised and my head kind of tilted back, so I actually get the pigment into where you're not gonna see. Now I'm gonna go back into my first brush and we're gonna go back into Lovely Bunch. And now we're just going to blend everything. So taming down our shimmer line at the top and also blending it into our darker color on the outer third, just to kind of get a more cohesive look. Now we're gonna go into my favorite shade of this whole palette, and it's called Shredded. It's the super light cream color, but it also has sparkly flecks in it. And I love to use this color just to go around like up in my brow area and just clean up all of the edges with it. Because it's such a light color, it really does the job for me. Okay, so those are the lids for now. We will finish up the lower lash line in a bit. All right, so I did go ahead and clean up all of the fallout and do my mascara. I will say with Colourpop, there is a little bit of fallout, so I just recommend doing your eyes first. That way you can clean it up pretty easily with a makeup wipe. And then I've been trying the new Maybelline Sky High Lash Sensational mascara this month. And I mean, I'm liking it so far. I think the wand is super bendy, and that kind of makes it a little more time consuming because you got to be careful about the wand bending in the wrong places. But I mean, the effect of it looks very nice to me so far. So that's what we're using on mascara. For primer, we're gonna use my e.l.f. Mint Melt Cooling Primer. Again, I've been testing this out this month and I have been absolutely loving it. So we're going to continue to use it. I normally take about 2 pumps of this and place it all over. One thing I will say about this primer though is that it's a super tacky primer, but like it dries down pretty fast. So once you put it on your face, it's really hard to like swipe it around. I think it depends on your preference. I tend to like fuller coverage foundations. So today I'm gonna use the Dose of Colors Find Your Hue foundation. But I mean, if you're looking for a natural and neutral look all around, maybe a lighter coverage foundation is your choice. And if that's the case, that's awesome. I just like fuller coverage foundation in general, so that's what I'm gonna use today. It snowed like 2.5 feet this week, and now I'm kind of like nervous that my dog is gonna jump over the fence because it's kind of a big dog, so he can do that. Or my other 2 are smaller and they can't. But I've got to leave today and he keeps going over to the portion of the fence where he could jump over it, and I'm a little worried. I'm hoping he understands that there's 2.5 feet of snow on the other side of the fence as well, and he won't be able to get back over if he jumps. For concealer, we're going to go into my Nars, my Radiant Creamy Concealer. This is obviously my go-to one. I just really like the look that it gives. It looks very hydrated under my eyes and it's got really good coverage. So this is why I continue to pick this one up. And I just like to place 2 dots. One to cover up my bluish in my inner corner, and then one to try to pull a lifted look. And then we just blend. I'm learning the new trends as I go. So I know I used to like do a pretty heavy amount down here for a concealer, but I'm learning that just 2 dots is all it takes. And overall, I like this effect better. Like, I think makeup is a huge preference thing as well, but for myself, I like this technique more than doing the larger areas. And then today I'm feeling a little special, so I'm gonna highlight my nose and a little bit on my chin to cover up my acne down there. I guess that didn't really make sense. Put a lighter concealer over the acne to brighten it up. That was dumb. Oh well. It gave a little bit more coverage, but now it's lighter. The good news is the friend I'm going to see today actually like introduced me to makeup, so I'm not too worried that she's gonna judge me. Next, we're gonna go into powder. I'm gonna use my Laura Mercier Translucent Loose Setting Powder like I normally do. I haven't found another powder that gives the effect of this one. So I'm just gonna tap out the creases. We don't want to set the creases. And then I just use my sponge and just take a little bit and pat it where I put concealer. And I really like to press it in. That way it doesn't leave like a super powdery finish. Now, you don't have to do this step. I tend to have pretty oily skin, so I like to actually set my whole face, and I just take some of my same translucent setting powder and I just kind of work it into the lid of the powder, and then just like dip a brush in it. And I don't take a whole lot, but I really work it into the brush. And then I go everywhere that I know I really get oily. So my forehead especially, and then I will lightly go over the rest of my cheeks. So really I get my whole face. That way all of it's set, but like the main areas that I really focus on are my forehead, down my nose, and like the side of my nose, my upper lip, and then my chin, which is basically your T-zone. And those are the oiliest parts of one's face. So trying to make the makeup last as long as possible by setting a little bit more heavily in that area. I'm not doing anything fancy for my brows. I'm just going to use my Benefit Gimme brow, so please enjoy the brow intermission. Okay, so now that I've got my brows on, we are going to finish up the lower lash line. So we're gonna go back into our Going Coconuts palette. And I'm gonna start with mixing the Nutty and the Get Cracking shade, Get Crackin', just to deepen up the outer corner a bit more. I just pinch the brush, I don't grab a new one. And I just go the outer third, I don't do it the whole way. Next we're gonna go into our shimmer shade, but because this does have a lot of fallout, I'm actually gonna use my MAC Fix Plus and wet my brush first. That way I can try to contain the fallout. And I'm just gonna put that from the middle all the way to the inner corner. And I do feel like I need a little bit more on the outer corner, so now I'm just gonna go straight into Get Crackin' and just bring that back in and blend it a little bit more into the shimmer, like we did on the top of the lashes. And then of course my favorite shade, we're gonna go back into Shredded. Again, we're just going to blend out the bottom. Actually, we're gonna go into this Palm Reader. It's the white shimmer shade here, and we're gonna use that as our inner corner highlight. We're just gonna place that right there. Okay, so now these are the eyes. Now we're gonna go into bronzer. I'm gonna use my Ofra by Samantha March bronzer duo in the shade River. This is what it looks like. Half of it is matte and half of it is shimmer. And I tend to like to mix them. So I tend to dip more into the matte side, but I do like the shimmer side as well. And then there's a new technique where you're no longer putting the bronzer in like the hollow of your cheek. You kind of put it like on your cheek. So we're gonna try it. And then I also take bronzer up along my hairline from where I put it on my cheeks, and I go all the way around, and then I also bring it under my chin. Helps give an all around bronzier look, and if you have a very large forehead, it'll help make your forehead look smaller, and it will also help hide like my double chin. Like, it doesn't hide it completely, but it kind of gives the illusion that you don't have those. What I would recommend you to remember though is if you're going to put bronzer under your chin, be sure to blend it down your neck too, because you don't want like a really dark shadow here and then a white neck, and then your face is even a different color. I have definitely picked foundations that do not match my face at all, and then go out into the living room and Ryan's like, your face doesn't match your neck. I'm like, oh, okay. But I'm stubborn and still wore it that day because I didn't want to redo my makeup. I am feeling like some pretty pink cheeks today, so I'm gonna go in with my Hourglass Ambient Lighting Blush. This is in the shade Sublime Flush. Looks like this. It's got like a pinky lilac-y mix to it, and it's Hourglass, so it definitely has a little bit of shimmer to it, but I really enjoy this color, and this is what I use when I really want a bright blush. So because we put our bronzer a little bit higher, the blush too will go a little bit higher. So this is like normally where I would put my highlight. And I like to take the blush color in around my temple too. And then once I get all the pigment there, I will blend it a bit better. So it kind of blends into the bronzer and then where you would normally put your highlight. And then I do this thing with blush is I like to put it kind of on my forehead line as well as the bronzer, just to kind of bring a little bit of color there up there. I don't know why, I just like it up there. And then I just kind of blend it. And then sometimes I like to put it on my nose. Not a whole lot though. Like, I don't even know if you can see that, but I can see it and that's enough for me. For highlight, I'm gonna go into my Nabla Skin Glazing. This is in the shade Ozone and it's a very ivory light color. I think it matches the eyes pretty well. So I'm just gonna take a little highlighting brush and then I put it with the new lifted technique. I put it where I would normally put it, but also kind of bring it in closer to my eye. And then I definitely put it around my eye too in a C shape, just to bring some glow. And then I definitely like to buff it in so it doesn't look like such a harsh, light, shimmery streak. And then I also like to put highlight on my nose and like between my eyes on the bridge of my nose, but I don't connect them. Oops, I got a little bit too much on my nose there. But I also like to put it on my Cupid's bow and sometimes just whatever is left on the chin. And most of the time I actually like to use my highlighter as my inner corner highlight, but today because there was a shade in our palette for that, that's why I used it. Next we're gonna go into setting spray. I like to do this before my lips and I'll show you why. Right now I'm currently loving the Rare Beauty Always an Optimist 4-in-1 mist. So this one you need to shake a little bit. Right. I don't know if you guys watched my skincare routine. I love facial mists. I find them to be extremely relaxing. So setting spray and then facial mist, I tend to go a little bit heavy on. But why I don't do my lips before setting spray is because I like to let it dry most of the way and then I like to take my sponge and press it in the rest of the way. And I feel like this just helps pick up any excess powder that I may have had. And also just press that setting powder in. And I found even if I'm careful about it with lips, I tend to hit my lips with the sponge and then I've got lipstick like over here. And so I've just learned to set my face before doing my lips. Okay, for lips, because I'm kind of going for a more neutral look, I picked out my Nabla Close-Up Lip Shaper in the shade Nude number 3. And this is just kind of like a neutral brown-ish, kind of. So I'm just gonna outline my lips and I don't think I'm gonna fill them in all the way. We'll see. Okay, so I started with just like kind of filling in the outer portions and then I ended up filling it all the way in. And then my whole plan was to top it with this Ofra by Samantha March lip gloss. This is in the shade Millie, which touches my soul because of my dog Millie. And it's just a really nice white pearlescent lip gloss. And I thought it would look really good under or over a like neutral brown color with our neutral brown look. I think that looks really nice. It's got some pearly to it, gives it a bit of a shine. All right, so here's our finished look. It's a very neutral, browny, natural. Well, a little smoky on the eyes, but yeah, this is the look I was going for today. I think it'll be simple enough that I won't get gawks, but it's enough that I feel beautiful in it and feel like I can address the day. So that was the purpose of this video. I would love to hear your comments on what your favorite neutral palettes are. And if you have any products that you absolutely love for neutral, natural days. Other than that, that's all I've got for you today. I am here on Tuesdays and Fridays, 10 a.m. Mountain Daylight Time now. Yes, Daylight Savings Time hit. So Mountain Daylight Time now. And I will see you in the next video. I hope you consider subscribing before you go. And I'll see you later. Thank you. Bye.